In this review video, we're going to look at changing the period of a sine and cosine graph. So the original sine and cosine graph repeat every 2 pi, because that just means I went all the way around the unit circle, and I'm back to where I started with. I'm going to start getting the same values again. But we want to change how often a graph repeats, we can change the period. All right, so if we have sine of bx or cosine of bx, the period is going to be the original period 2 pi, and then you divide it by that number next to the x. So if we look at these examples, what are the periods of these functions? Well, 4 sine of 2x. This 4 in the front doesn't matter for the period, that's just the amplitude. This 2 is all that matters. So I'm going to take 2 pi, the original period, divided by that number, the 2's cancel, and I get pi. So the period of this function is pi. The next one, negative 3 cosine of pi x. Again, this negative 3 doesn't matter, that's the amplitude. I just care about this pi next to the x. And I'm going to take 2 pi divided by pi. The pi's cancel. In this case, I get 2. And the last one, again, all that really matters is this number next to the x. So I'm going to do 2 pi divided by that 1/6. Dividing by a fraction, I can change it to multiplication of its reciprocal, and I get 12 pi. All right, so that's how we can find the period. We're going to graph it. We want to break our period up into the 4 equal parts that are going to represent the original quadrants of the unit circle. And there's kind of 2 main ways to do this. The first way is just do each quadrant individually. So our original full circle, if we had this equation, our original full circle is 2 pi. We divide that by 2, our full period's pi. To get to quadrant 3, originally is 3 pi over 2. Dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. That turns into 3 pi over 4. So it's kind of 3/4 of the way in our new period. Quadrant 2 used to be pi, but now we're dividing by 2, and that just simplifies like that. Quadrant 1 used to be pi over 2. Divided by 2 gets pi over 4. So you can take all of our original quadrants, just divide them by that same b value, and you get your simplified new quadrants for this new period. The other way is to work backwards from the full period. So I know if I had this equation, my full period, I divide 2 pi by 4, and I get pi over 2. That's the full circle. So I can go halfway back. That would be my quadrant 2 part. Halfway back, just multiply by 1/2. So that gives me half of the circle. I can go halfway back again. That'll be to quadrant 1. So I just do half of what I just got. And now I know quadrant 1 is up here. If I do quadrant 1, 1, 2, 3 times, that gets me down to the bottom, my quadrant 3 piece. As there's another way using halves to kind of get you back to quadrant 1 and finally kind of leap to quadrant 3 at the end. And that's how you can change the period and find the different gaps of your quadrants with a new sine and cosine function.